The billionaire stood frozen outside the restaurant, staring at the empty space where his car had been parked. And what happened in the next 45 minutes would decide whether he lost $50 million or everything. Before we go on, where are you watching from right now? Drop your city in the comments. This isn't just about a missing car. This is about Adams Thomas standing on the edge of losing a deal that could change the trajectory of his empire forever. The California afternoon had been ordinary, too ordinary. Adams Thomas didn't do ordinary. He stepped out of the restaurant, adjusting the cuff of his tailored suit, already running through numbers in his head. The deal was airtight. Months of negotiations, pressure, and strategic silence, all leading to one final meeting. 45 minutes, that's all he had. He reached into his pocket, pressed his car key, nothing. He frowned slightly, pressed it again, still nothing. Then his eyes shifted slowly to the spot where his car had been parked. But empty. Not, maybe I parked somewhere else, empty. Gone, completely gone. For a moment, Adams didn't move, his mind didn't panic, it calculated. Possibilities, time loss, distance. Then reality hit. 30 minutes to get to the next city, 45 minutes before the meeting. No car, no backup driver, no margin for error. His jaw tightened. Inside the restaurant, the soft hum of conversations continued like nothing had happened. But for him, everything had just tilted. He turned sharply and walked back in. Who was on parking duty? His voice cut through the room, calm but heavy. The manager rushed forward, already nervous. Sir, we don't handle parking externally, customers. My car is gone. Adam's voice dropped lower. Dangerous. Controlled. That makes it your problem. A silence fell over the immediate area, staff exchanged glances. No one had answers, no one had seen anything, time kept moving. 40 minutes now. Adams pulled out his phone, already dialing. Already calculating alternatives, but traffic, distance, timing, it all stacked against him. Then, a voice. Soft, but clear. You can use mine. He turned. She stood a few steps away, still in her uniform, holding a tray she hadn't realized she'd stopped carrying. Pauline. She hadn't planned to speak, didn't even know why she did. But something about the look on his face, not panic. Not fear, but controlled urgency, told her this wasn't normal. This wasn't just a rich man being inconvenienced, this was something bigger. Adams studied her, not long, but enough. You understand what you're offering, he asked. She nodded, even though her heart had started racing. It's not much, she admitted. But it'll get you there. He glanced at his watch, 38 minutes, no better option. No time for pride, keys, he said. She stepped forward, placing them in his hand. For a brief second, their fingers brushed. And something unspoken passed between them. Not emotion, not connection, just recognition. Then he turned and walked out, no hesitation, no thank you, just action. The drive wasn't smooth, her car was small. Underpowered, nothing like what he was used to. But Adams didn't care, he pushed it. Every turn calculated, every second measured. Traffic lights became obstacles to beat. Time dropped, 30 minutes, 25, 15. He arrived with less than 3 minutes to spare. Inside the meeting room, no one commented on the car, they only saw Adams Thomas. And Adams Thomas did what he always did, he closed the deal. Over $50 million, signed, finalized. Done. 5 hours later. The sun had dipped low, casting a golden glow across the city. Pauline was wiping down a table when she heard it. The sound of a car pulling up outside, her car, she froze. For a second, she wondered if he'd actually come back. Then the door opened, Adams stepped in, same suit, same presence. But something slightly different. He walked straight to her, placed the keys on the table. You saved me today, he said. Simple, direct, no exaggeration. Then he reached into his pocket and placed something else beside the keys. Money, a lot of it. More than she'd probably made in months. Her eyes widened slightly. I can't. You can, he cut in. Not harsh, final, but she hesitated. Then slowly, she took it. Thank you, he added. And for the first time since she met him, his voice carried something unfamiliar. Not authority, not pressure, something quieter, something real. He turned to leave, and that should have been it. A moment, a transaction, two lives crossing briefly then moving on. But as he reached the door, he stopped. Just slightly, then without turning. What's your name? She blinked. Pauline. A pause, then a small nod. Adams. And just like that, he walked out. That should have been the end of it, but it wasn't. Because what neither of them knew was that this single decision, this one moment of unexpected kindness, had just started something far bigger than either of them were prepared for. And the next time Adams Thomas walked into that restaurant, it wouldn't just be for food. The next time Adams Thomas walked into that restaurant, it wasn't for food. It was for her. 3 days had passed, 3 quiet, normal days for everyone else. But not for Pauline, because ever since that night, something felt different. Not in the world, in her world. She found herself thinking about it at random moments. The way he spoke, the way he looked at her. The way he said her name like it meant something. She shook it off every time, men like that didn't come back. They moved on, they forgot, but then the door opened. And he walked in, same presence, same quiet authority. And just like that, the air in the room shifted again. Pauline felt it before she even saw him, her hands slowed. Her breath caught, just slightly. He didn't sit immediately. Instead, his eyes scanned the room until they landed on her. And this time, he walked straight over. I'll take whatever you recommend, he said. No menu, no hesitation, just trust. That caught her off guard. Okay, she said, trying to stay composed. Give me a minute. She turned quickly, heading toward the kitchen, but her heart was racing now. This wasn't random, this wasn't coincidence, he came back for her. When she returned, he was already watching her. Not in a way that made her uncomfortable, but in a way that felt intentional. You always help strangers like that, he asked. She set the plate down gently. Not usually. Then why me? There it was. The question she had been avoiding in her own head. She hesitated, then gave the only answer that felt honest. You didn't look like someone who could afford to lose. Something in his expression shifted, not dramatically, but enough. You're right, he said quietly. That should have been the end of the conversation, but it wasn't. Because Adams didn't leave, he stayed, long after the food was gone. Long after his table should have been cleared. They talked, at first, small things. Safe things, but slowly, it changed. You don't seem surprised by things, Pauline said at one point. I planned too far ahead to be surprised, he replied. And yet, your car got stolen. A faint smirk. Which is why I adjust. She studied him. You always this calm? No, he said. That answer surprised her. When aren't you? He leaned back slightly. When something matters. The way he said it. It wasn't casual, it wasn't light, it carried weight. And for a second, she wondered what kind of things had to happen to make a man like him lose control. From that day on, he kept coming back, not every day, but often enough that it became expected. Routine, and slowly, something started forming between them. Not fast, not obvious, but undeniable. Then one night, he stayed longer than usual. The restaurant had emptied, chairs were being stacked. Lights dimmed, but he was still there, and so was she. You don't have to stay, Pauline said softly. I know, he replied. But he didn't move. A silence settled between them. Not awkward, just heavy. Then he spoke. Have dinner with me. Her heart skipped, not because of the invitation, but because of how direct it was. No build-up, no games, just a decision. She hesitated, not because she didn't want to, but because she did. And that scared her. I don't think that's a good idea, she said carefully. Why? Because she knew exactly who he was, not just rich. Not just powerful. But the kind of man whose life came with complications she couldn't even imagine. You live in a different world, she said. And yet you stepped into mine first, he replied. That hit harder than she expected. She looked at him, really looked this time. Not the suit, not the presence, but the man. And for the first time she saw something she hadn't noticed before. Not control, not power, but persistence. I'm not saying no, she said slowly. Then what are you saying? I'm saying I need time. Then a small nod. I can work with that. And just like that, it became something more. Days turned into weeks, conversations turned into something deeper. He learned things about her no one else ever asked. She learned things about him no one else ever knew. Not everything, but enough to realize this wasn't simple, and it wasn't safe. Because one night, everything shifted. It started small, a black car parked across the street. Engine off, lights off, just sitting there. Pauline noticed it first. At first, she ignored it. But then, it was there again. The next day, same spot, same stillness, watching, waiting. You expecting someone? She asked Adams casually. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he turned his head slowly and looked outside. His expression changed. Not dramatically, but enough. The calm. It cracked, just slightly. How long has that car been there? He asked. Her stomach tightened. A few days. Silence, heavy, dangerous. Then he stood, all at once, decision made, energy shifted. Pauline, he said, his voice lower now. Sharper. Listen to me carefully. Her heart started pounding. What's going on? He didn't answer that, not directly, instead. You need to stop talking to me. The words hit like a shock. What? It's not safe. That word, safe, everything inside her tightened. What are you talking about? But he was already moving, already thinking. Already calculating. They found me sooner than I expected. And just like that, the calm, controlled man she thought she knew was gone, replaced by someone else entirely, someone sharper. Colder, more dangerous. He turned back to her. And for the first time since she met him, there was no distance in his voice, only urgency. If you see that car again, you stay away from me. Her chest tightened. Adams. No, he cut in. This isn't something you can fix with kindness. A pause. Then quieter. I won't let you get dragged into this. But it was already too late, because as Pauline turned her head slightly, she saw something that made her blood run cold. The car door opening, and two men stepping out. The car door slammed shut, and in that single sound everything changed. The two men didn't rush, they didn't need to. They moved with the kind of confidence that said one thing clearly. They weren't here to ask questions. Pauline's breath caught in her throat. Adams, she whispered. But he was already watching them, not surprised, not confused. Just ready. Listen to me, he said, his voice low and controlled. Whatever happens next, you stay behind me. Her heart started pounding harder. What is this? Who are they? They're a problem, he replied. Not fear, not panic, just fact. The restaurant door opened, the bell above it rang softly. Too soft for what was about to happen, the two men stepped inside. Sharp suits, cold eyes. They scanned the room once, then locked onto Adams. "There you are," one of them said. Calm, almost amused. "You've been hard to reach." Pauline felt something shift in the air. Like the entire room had just stepped into a space it didn't belong in. Adams didn't move, didn't step back, didn't even blink. "I wasn't aware I was hiding," he said. The men smirked slightly. "You always were good at pretending." Pauline's mind raced. This wasn't random, this wasn't about a stolen car. This was something else entirely, something bigger, something dangerous. "We're not here to cause a scene," the second man added, though his tone suggested the exact opposite. "Just come with us." Then. "No," Adams said. Simple, final, that was all it took. The atmosphere snapped. One of the men reached inside his jacket. Pauline froze. Her body reacted before her mind could, fear locking her in place. But Adams. He moved fast. In one fluid motion, he stepped forward, grabbing the man's wrist before anything could come out. Twisting, a sharp crack echoed through the room. The men dropped instantly. The second man reacted, too slow. Adams turned, striking once, precise, controlled, devastating. The men stumbled back, crashing into a table. Silence, heavy, unreal. Pauline stood frozen, heart racing, mind spinning. Because the man in front of her was not just a businessman. Adams exhaled slowly, then turned to her. And for the first time, there was no hiding it. "This is why I told you to stay away." Her voice came out barely above a whisper. "Who are you?" "Not long, but long enough to matter." "I build companies," he said. Then, quieter. "And I destroy people who try to take them from me." Before she could process that, headlights flooded the restaurant windows. More cars. Adam's expression hardened instantly. "They're early." "Who is they?" Pauline asked, panic creeping in. But deep down she already knew. He stepped closer to her, close enough that his voice dropped, just for her. "You need to leave. Now." Her chest tightened. "I'm not leaving you." His jaw clenched slightly. "This isn't something you can stand beside me in." "Then don't stand alone," she fired back. For a second, everything paused. He looked at her, really looked, and something in his expression shifted. Not frustration, not anger, something deeper. "You don't understand what you're choosing," he said quietly. "Then explain it to me later," she replied. "Right now, I'm not walking away." Then, a decision. He nodded once, sharp, resolved. "Stay close," he said. The doors burst open, more men, more danger. But this time, Adams didn't wait. What followed wasn't chaos, it was control. Calculated, efficient, every move deliberate. Every strike precise. Pauline watched, heart pounding. As the men she thought she knew became someone else entirely. Someone built for moments like this. And then, just as quickly as it started, it was over. Silence filled the room again. Broken only by heavy breathing and distant sirens. Adams stood still for a moment, then turned to her. "You're coming with me." Not a question, and this time, he didn't hesitate. Hours later. They stood at the top floor of a glass building overlooking the entire city. The night stretched endlessly below them. Lights, power, control. Pauline stepped forward slowly, taking it all in. "This is your world," she said. Behind her, Adams stood still, watching her. "They tried to take everything from me," he said quietly. "The deal. My companies. My leverage. Then. They used the only opening they thought I had." She turned slightly. "And that is?" His gaze locked onto hers, cold, certain, unshakable. "You." Her breath caught. "They thought you were my weakness," he continued. A step closer, slow, deliberate. They were wrong. His hand rested lightly on the edge of the glass beside her. Not touching her, but close enough to feel. "You're the reason I didn't lose," he said. Silence, heavy, meaningful. Pauline looked out at the city again, then back at him. At the men who had walked into her life over something as simple as a car. And turned it into something she could never walk away from. "You're dangerous," she said softly. A faint smirk touched his lips. "Only when I need to be." Then. "I'm still deciding if that's a good thing," she added. He stepped closer, just enough to close the distance. "Take your time," he said. "But understand this." His voice dropped, low, certain, final. "I don't lose what I decide to keep." The city lights flickered below, endless, unforgiving. And as Pauline stood there, she realized something she couldn't ignore anymore. She hadn't just helped a stranger that day. She had stepped into a world where leaving was no longer simple. And maybe she didn't want to. If you made it this far, hit subscribe, because stories like this, they only get deeper. And tell me, would you have given him your car?